So Declan Burren is my name. I'm the project manager of the SUAS project. As the title suggests and the photo shows, we're dealing with the uplands in the Dublin and Wicklow Mountains. Next there, please. Okay, so just for my talk today, I said first thing we look at would be the need for, why was there a need for the SUAS project in the first place? And I suppose bottom line is habitat quality in the uplands is deteriorating and has been for a number of years. There's no money in hill farming, so I suppose management has been driven by various schemes and payments over the last number of years, not always to the advantage of habitat management. What we've seen in Wicklow is, and Dublin, we have reduced numbers of sheep grazing in the uplands, but it's not just the drop in numbers is an issue, but also the length of time that the sheep are actually grazing on the uplands. We have a lot of our commonages and hills now where the sheep go up for about 2 months after weaning the lambs, and there's very little on the hill for the rest of the year. This has led to issues with both undergrazing and overgrazing on the same hills. So the solutions to this are going to be quite complex, and it's not a simple matter of just coming up with a magic number of sheep to graze these hills. Some of the challenges that we have then, well, I suppose commonages is always going to be a challenge, and I don't think any of our agri-environmental schemes to date has really got to grips with dealing with commonages. We have the issue with inactive farmers. These are farmers who don't put high stock to the hills or don't do any work up there. Some of them may still be claiming BPS and possibly even gloss on it, but we're interested in the farmers who are actually doing something. It's an open landscape, so we have one area of over 10,000 hectares that runs between the Wicklow Gap Road and the Sally Gap Road. There's over 30 LIPS plot numbers in that, plot areas in that. There's a whole variety of different habitat types and habitat conditions and various issues within it. So it's impossible to look at small areas individually. Availability of suitable stock for grazing the hills, because our farmers haven't been putting the stock up there as much in recent years, the quality of stock too will go back up to the hills is probably not there at the present time. Now, working on the hills, it's not like working in the lowland areas. For a lot of lowland farmers, the biggest issue to have is getting out of the tractor or getting out of the jeep to open the gate to go into the fields. Whereas when we go up on the hills or the upland areas, machinery access is quite limited and often dangerous. It's a rough environment and there's an awful lot of hazards for walking or doing any work. And a lot of farmers may not be able or willing to do the work up there. So that's something we have to get over. There is the conflict, as always, between eligibility and habitat management. I won't elaborate. Our previous agri-environmental schemes, in particular for the upland areas, have largely been sold as income support for farmers rather than as habitat management. And some of the rules and regulations would have been maybe changed to accommodate getting more farmers in, possibly to the detriment of habitat management. Next slide there, Patrick. Okay, so the solutions, well, in terms of dealing with the commonages, our main innovation is we've come up with these commonage groups. So what's a commonage group? It's basically where we get all the farmers on an individual commonage to come together and form a formal group. It is this group then which actually joins the project, agrees the management plan, does up or delivers the management on the ground, and also decides where the money is going to be divided. Now, these commonage groups are not just something that farmers sit around the table someday and sign the form. We've actually brought these farmers through a process of training and facilitation to help them develop the tools that they need to be able to have this as a functioning group going forward for the purpose. We have development management plans, and they are based on current habitat condition. We need to know what's happening up there at the minute. We also need to set priorities and targets for habitat improvement. We're dealing with large areas, huge areas over multiple LIPS areas or LIPS plot areas. So probably what we need is landscape level plans initially, and for individual areas to work within that. Now, things happen slowly in the uplands, so we feel that our plans need to be at least 10 to 15 years long. Now, our traditional agri-environmental schemes tend to be much shorter than that, and there's no problem with that. We can work with that, provided that there is continuity from one scheme into the next. We have found that farmer involvement with our ecologists and drawing up these plans has been a great success. That we end up with the farmers and the ecologists discussing, and we have developed plans which were very, very achievable, and the farmers have great buy-in because they were involved in drawing them up. Okay, Patrick. We need to promote habitat management techniques for the farmers. Why? Because we can't just assume farmers know what to do up on the hills because they haven't been doing it for years. So we have been doing a lot of that with our farmers. We need to provide support to the farmers in terms of training, advisory support, perhaps with equipment, and also we need to maybe work with contractors. Obviously, we need financial incentives for the farmers, and our aim within the SUAS project is to reward those who actually provide that management that you want. Last slide there. So, just to sum up kind of what we need for our upland areas, appropriate management plans, as I've said, and we need to support our farmers to deliver that management. It's not just about throwing money out to farmers, provide all the additional support as well. Thank you.